Y'all, I got these fake glasses from YesStyle, and I actually wore them in a short Patreon check-in just to see if they would work, and they reflected like all of the lights too much. So I thought that I couldn't wear them, but then I popped the lenses out and I think I can wear them now. I think I'm gonna wear them. I feel like this is fine, cozy, and I feel like this is fashion. I feel like the glasses make it fashion. And you know what Coco Chanel said? Before you leave the house, look in the mirror, and if you don't look cool enough, put on your fake glasses. They do unfortunately obscure my eyebrows, and I feel like my eyebrows are looking particularly fierce today. But you know, into every life some rain must fall. Let me tell you about today's video. A couple of days ago, thought of this idea and I felt like it was a really good idea. I was like, I have just come up with a great idea for a video. It's going to be products I've been using forever. And in my mind, I was like, you know, like the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer and the Becca Neo Highlighter, stuff like that. The products that I've been using forever. And I decided to not define forever, but just to use the idea of products I've been using forever as a prompt, and to sit down and collect the products that I feel like I've been using forever, and then to talk you through them, tell you about them. And I sat down to do it, and it didn't quite go as planned because I couldn't think of anything. I was like, okay, NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, Becca Neo Highlighter, and then I was like, that's kind of it. And then I, fortified myself and I scraped together a couple of more than that. So I'm going to tell you about those two. I'm going to tell you about the couple of more. And then I feel like there are actually some takeaways that come not from the products themselves, but from the fact that I thought that this would be a good video and then it turned out to be harder than I thought that it would. If this is your first time to my channel, harder than I thought that it would be. Harder than I thought that it would be to come up with the things. I didn't want to leave that sentence hanging. If this is your first time to my channel, hi, I'm Hannah. I love beautiful things. I love beauty. I love makeup. And I'm really interested in consumer habits. I feel like that's this video. We're talking about consumer habits. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed. And let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. Obviously, we have to start with the two products that I mentioned in the intro, the two that sprang most readily to mind, the two that were the inspiration for this video, and probably the only two. No, that's not true. Some of the others that I dredged up are valid, but these are like the two makeup products that I feel like I've been using forever. The NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, I actually think that I bought it like right when it launched. That's how long I've been using it. It's since way before I started my YouTube channel in 2018. And here's the thing. Back when I was a wee young bean in high school and I had acne and, redness on my face and wasn't opposed to the idea of using some kind of makeup to help conceal it, but I came from a family in which the women didn't wear makeup. Like my mom has never worn makeup in her life. It's not that I didn't have friends who wore makeup, but I didn't have the kind of like friend group or the kind of thing where I didn't have a friend to like take me under her wing and take me to the mall and be like, here, let's get you made up. Like it just wasn't like that. I was just floundering, not knowing. A woman who was cutting my hair at the time, like my mom found this woman who was an independent stylist and was taking me there to have my hair cut. It's a really nice woman. And she sold a little bit of makeup in her little salon. And she sat me down one time and was like, here you go, take this. And she was like, just dot a couple on your blemishes and then put a little bit underneath your eye and spread it out, sort of like an L shape or the little triangle underneath the eye, kind of just to brighten the skin. So this is like my first experience with makeup. I was a late bloomer in beauty. I was probably like a sophomore or even a junior in high school. This was my first experience with grown-up makeup. I had been spending my allowance on Bonnabelle, like bubblegum flavored Bonnabelle lip gloss, since long before then. But you get what I'm saying. Like I didn't grow up in this world in any way. And this was the first time that someone was like, here's how you do the thing that you're trying to do, which is just to have like your face, but slightly better. And it was a product like this. This is where I'm getting with this story. It was a pot. I think it was probably, I don't know what brand it was, but it was something like this. It was like a pot concealer like this. And I used up the entire one that she gave me. And then I went to Sephora looking for something like it. And I took the thing in and I was, because it was later and I don't know, I didn't have the same access to the same thing again. I took the pot and I was like, I'm looking for something like this. And the one that I ended up purchasing that the Sephora employee helped me find was from Lorac. It was like the Lorac version of this. And I used that for years. For years, that was like my only real base product, like my main makeup. And then one day, years later, years and years have passed in my life, I'm telling you. It's been years. It's been years that I've been alive. Years later, I went to Sephora to replace the Lorac one, and Lorac wasn't in Sephora anymore. They were like, we don't carry Lorac anymore. Or maybe they didn't carry that particular product from Lorac. And I actually think that then that might have been the occasion on which I was guided towards Bare Minerals, and I ended up using the Bare Minerals powder foundation for a long time. The powder, whatever that business was, which I know now that I know more about this stuff, it's a terrible match for my skin tone because the lightest shade is a little dark and way too cool for me. But I just wasn't discerning at the time. I didn't know. So I used that for a while. And then when this launched, a couple of years, I think, before I started my channel, maybe 5 years. I mean, it was like sometime before. Then when this launched, I was like, that's my guy. I was like, that's my old standard. It looks just like that one from Lorac, and it looks just like that one that I was using all of those years ago when I was a Une babe, and I bought it. And you know, the thing that's nice for me about NARS is that the lightest shade is relatively pale in their range, and it's very, very yellow toned. The entire shade range, as far as I understand it, runs very yellow. Not ideal for people who are cool toned, but definitely ideal for people who are warm toned. And it's that elusive, like very, very pale, but also very yellow toned concealer, which is a really great spot concealer for me. So now you know the whole story of why I've been using this type of thing for my entire life. And I feel like in this current phase of my relationship with makeup, in which I'm like quite passionate about it, and I enjoy having a larger collection than I had when I was just a child. And I, you know, make videos on YouTube, and I know a lot about it, and I have tried a lot of things on my skin, and I understand my skin tone and my undertones and my preferences and all of this stuff. In this phase, I feel like I've been using this exact product, the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in Chantilly, the entire time. I feel like I've been using it forever. The thing that's great about it is because it's matte and it's so stiff, it really, really sticks on blemishes. It's really sturdy. It's the best for spot concealing, but it is creamy enough that you can use it in a pinch in the other capacity that we use concealer, like to brighten the planes of the face. And it's light, but it's not so light that it's super brightening on me. It's a really good matte for my skin tone, maybe even a tiny bit darker, but in that way it like downplays blemishes a little bit. This is a go-to for me. I think I've purchased it 3 times in a row and I've panned it every time. I've been using it forever. The Becca Neo Highlighter in Sahara, it's kind of a different story. Years, again, before I started my channel, before my no-buy year, I purchased this product during one of my misguided overspending adventures. During those couple of years when I was just like spending and spending and spending and acquiring and acquiring and acquiring makeup, when I was stuck in that cycle, I bought so many things just because I wanted to want something so that I could buy it, so that I could feel those feelings of having satisfied a desire. So I spent a lot of time like going either to Sephora or onto the website, not actually wanting something, but looking for something to want so that I could buy it. And I just remember this. It had recently launched. I was looking for something to want. I came across it. I was enthralled by the sort of shaded pan like this. I was interested in the claims that this is a very finely milled powder. I thought it would potentially be, I didn't really understand powder. And now I know that the reason I've never understood powder is that I have very dry skin and powder isn't actually like a good idea for me. But there were a couple of years there where I was like, everyone's always talking about powder and everyone's always powdering their face. And I felt compelled to like keep buying powders and trying powders so that I would understand powders. And this was billed as being something so finely milled that it could be used kind of all over the face to light up the face. Again, of course, I now know that the way that I light up my face is by using creamy products. That works much better for me with my dry skin, but I didn't know that at the time because I hadn't experimented enough. So all signs point to this, retrospectively, all signs pointed to this being a bad purchase for me. Because if I bought, like buying it for its intended purpose, which like is an all over face powder or even just a highlighter, you know, it's not luminous enough for me, it's powdery. The thing that this was intended to do and the people it was intended for, it's not a good match for me. So the purchase itself was, I think, kind of ill-informed, and it was just luck that it happened to turn out to be something super brilliant for me because it is a really good bronzer for me. This is all three of Kevyn Aucoin's highlight colors. I think there are three, like the Candlelight Glow powders or whatever. There's a light one, there's a medium one, and then there's a deeper one. And you can buy them individually. And the gimmick with this product when they first put on the market was that it's the three of them blended together in this ombre pan. The peachier one and the deeper one together, or sometimes one or the other, those work really well for me for bronzing. This isn't supposed to be a bronzer, but, you know, as someone with very pale and again, like quite yellow toned skin, there aren't really bronzers on the market that are right for me unless I'm going for like a really artificially bronzed look, like a really dramatic difference. For me to just slightly darken my neck so that it matches my face or just sculpt a little bit, there aren't that many on the market. Or if there are, they tend to be matte. And I don't really like putting a matte powder on my skin. So a very pale, soft, super finely milled, and very luminous powder that can be used for bronzing. For me, that's like a unicorn that I didn't know I was looking for, but I found it in this product. And so I completely used one up, and then I was about to purchase it again, but it actually came up in my Octoly free store. So I got this one in PR because by that time I had already started my YouTube channel. And if I were to lose this or break this tomorrow, I would absolutely buy it again. It's like it's the product that I've been using forever. That's just like a standard, an old standard that's incredibly useful, like a super useful tool. And I wouldn't want to be without it. So those are the two that are just like obvious to me. I mean, it is interesting, I think, to look at my daily makeup drawer, or like look at what I use on a daily basis and be like, which of these things have like been around forever and absolutely endured, as opposed to, for example, my cream concealer, the one that I use for brightening. I use the one from Makeup Forever, but I used Tarte Shape Tape for a really long time. And then when I decided I didn't want to repurchase it, I went on this like concealer hunt and I tried a thousand different kinds, swatched a bunch of different kinds of concealers and tried a bunch of different kinds looking for the most skin-like concealer that was lightweight on the skin and that was a good match for me. And I found that one from Makeup Forever. And now I feel like it's going to be a long time probably before anything unseats it. But I don't feel like I've been using it forever because it unseated something else that I had been using forever. So it is an old standard, but it's not like these. It's not like a super old faithful like these are. I thought of those two and then I was like, that's it. And then I was like, well, I can't just film a video and only talk about two products. There must be other things. So it occurred to me to just talk about green color corrector in general. I actually don't have a green color corrector right now because I'm in this sort of no-buy season between my shopping seasons. I could replace my green color corrector still within the rules of my no-buy, but I just don't feel like placing an order from Sephora right now. I might place one as we get closer to the end of March and closer to my shopping season at the beginning of April. I might go ahead and just preempt the end of the no-buy and go ahead and get it because I do miss my green color corrector. But for now, I've just been getting by without it and it's been perfectly fine. But I do feel like I've been using green color correcting products as a base instead of coverage products forever. And the first one that really turned me onto this idea was the Dr. Jart green cream, the Tiger Grass Cisapair. In retrospect, again, it was not a good idea for me because it goes on green. It goes on with this kind of like pasty greenish hue. And when I first put it on, back in the day when I was using it, which was again before my YouTube channel, I would always be amazed when I first put it on at how it transformed my red skin, but without looking like it was adding any color, because it was like this whitish green and it would rub into my skin. And it was also an SPF product, a really, really great product in a lot of ways. But it was like a green to beige. It was billed as a green to beige. And as I became more aware of, the way that makeup wears throughout the day, and as I became a little bit more discerning, I realized that when it went on with this pale whitish green cast, my skin would look fantastic. But then as it went from green to beige, it would darken and it would become darker than my actual skin. And it actually just wasn't a very flattering product on me over the course of the day. So then I stopped using it. But then I started looking for something that would give me that initial green hue that would balance out my redness without oxidizing or like turning to a darker beige later. And that was when I found out about and started experimenting with just pure green color correcting products, like just green color correctors straight up, mixing them with my other products or putting them on in a thin layer and then layering other products on top of them. And the first one that I actually did the same thing. I did kind of like a survey of green color correctors. And the one that I ended up buying was the Lancome Camouflage. And it's an incredibly thick, sticky green color corrector that's highly pigmented. And so a little goes a very, very long way. And even though it was Lancome and it was pretty expensive, that's probably the most cost-effective one that I've ever tried, because I bought it and then I used it for like 2 years. Like it lasted forever. When I ran out of it, it occurred to me that there might be some that were more cosmetically elegant, or for me, a little bit more user-friendly. And so I did another survey, and that was when I found the one from the Sephora collection that's really serum-y, but also highly pigmented. And I love that one so much. I've also used the one from Algenist, but I love the one from the Sephora collection, and that's the one that I'm planning to repurchase at the end of this month. So I haven't been using the Sephora collection one exactly forever. Like it doesn't feel like this, but the idea of a green color corrector as a base product and the idea of color correcting redness away instead of covering it up, that I feel like is something I've been doing forever. And so I wanted to bring that into this video, because when it comes to just my relationship with makeup and the difference between what feels like novel or new, or what feels like experimentation, and what feels like the baseline of kind of like how I've been doing my makeup forever, the green color corrector definitely falls into that latter category. Casting around, I thought of something that I've been using forever that really feels like a Louise Poston beauty secret that I've never talked about on camera. It's not makeup, but it really fits, I feel like, the spirit of this video. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mention it. It's these gigantic roller pins. They're like gigantic bobby pins. I don't think I've ever mentioned them. There's a chance that I mentioned them like way back during the first year of my channel in a video about hair, because I know I was doing some hair videos back then, but I don't think that I did. I do pile up my hair a lot. A lot of times my hair is like pinned up and piled up. Even today, actually, I have this I've used some pins because I wrapped like a piece of hair around the hair tie that's here. So I'm constantly sort of like bossing my hair and pinning it into place with bobby pins. And I've talked about that a lot. I talk about bobby pins. I've demonstrated the use of bobby pins, but I've always depended on these really huge bobby pins. I should be comparing them to a regular size bobby pin, BRB. So there on top is a regular bobby pin, and the one underneath is the roller pin. And you can see that the regular bobby pin is not just smaller, it's also looser. That's because I've been shoving it into my hair, and my hair is so thick that it's like spread it apart and made it less effective. And look how tight this roller pin is, because it's really strong. The roller pins are like this really strong, snappy, heavy brass, I guess. I don't know what they are, but they just feel like super indestructible. I can use them to get like a really firm hold and really hold my braids, my French braids in place, my bun in place on top of my head. They go much further into the hair because they're so long. And I don't only use them. They're so big that it can be awkward. Like they easily come out the other side of whatever you're doing. A combination of the two is what's ideal for me. Like these for a really strong, firm hold, and then the littler ones to get like little tendrils and wisps and stuff in place. I think it's worth mentioning because they're billed as roller pins. Like they're not sold as just bobby pins for hair. They're sold as being pins that are used to hold rollers in place. That's why they're so sturdy. But I've been using them forever, and I just think that they're the best. I think that if you have thick hair and you pin your hair up, then you shouldn't be without some roller pins. When it comes to skincare, and again, when I first thought of this idea, I was like, I bet there's a bunch of like makeup and skincare products that I've been using forever. But then when I actually went through my skincare, and granted, I think especially when it comes to skincare, I have had the opportunity to try so much skincare, so much new skincare because of YouTube that I wouldn't necessarily have tried if I were just buying all of my own stuff. There have been more chances for new products to come in and unseat my old standards. And the other thing that happened there's like a break in the flow of like stuff that I've been using forever when it comes to skincare, because before my no-buy year, I used a lot of really expensive skincare. And then during my no-buy year, I got the opportunity to see how much it was really costing me. And I essentially revised my entire skincare routine, and I didn't throw out physically the products, but I tossed out of my routine almost everything. And eventually, literally everything. Like I replaced literally everything in my routine during my no-buy year. So a lot of the things that I would have been using forever because I had been using them for years leading up to that point have been replaced either with more affordable skincare when I'm buying it myself, or with, PR products when I get the chance to try them for review on YouTube. So it's a little bit harder to find things in the skincare category that I've been using forever because pretty much nothing made it through that watershed moment. But the product that I was using forever before my no-buy year, and then have continued by the skin of my teeth to have in my collection, really by chance, throughout my no-buy year and then ever since my no-buy year until now, is Sunday Riley Good Jeans. And it's funny, I've never received it in PR from a brand, and I've never purchased it since before my no-buy year. But people have given me bottles. During my no-buy year, it wasn't even like a YouTube connection. My downstairs neighbor at the time, my lovely downstairs neighbor, Natalia, I was visiting with her, and we both were passionate about skincare. It was like halfway through, maybe 8 months into my no-buy year. And we were talking about skincare, and she was like, don't you like Sunday Riley Good Jeans? And I was like, yeah, I love it. And she was like, I have a whole bottle of it that I'm not using. Do you want it? And with this product, a little goes a long way. And the way that I use it is that I tend to use a big pump or two all over my whole face as a really thick mask once a week. I use it as like a dramatic overnight facial once a week. But for me, that means that I can make a bottle last a really long time. So Natalia gave me this huge bottle towards the end of my no-buy year. And then I think it lasted like well into 2019. By the time I ran out of it, my friend Daisy had sent me a bottle that she works at Sephora, and she had gotten it gratis. She had gotten it like for free from Sephora, but she didn't use it. I'm not exactly sure where this one came from, but it too was like a gift from someone who wasn't using it. This is the last little bit that I have, and I just used it up. So far, I have no plans to purchase it again, in large part because I'm trying to really simplify my skincare routine right now. I'm actually trying Curology. I'll be letting you guys know about that soon on my channel. But I'm really on the warpath to try to clean up my skin. So I've taken a step back from almost everything I usually use, and I'm just trying this really simple routine for now. And once all that comes out in the wash and I'm sort of like starting over again, I might buy it. We'll see. I don't really know what I'll do. All I can tell you now is that I have been using it forever. I've been using it this whole time. I was using it forever before my no-buy year. I think there is a chance that I would have bought it for myself if I hadn't been given those bottles. There's a chance, but I can't say for sure. The point of this video isn't really to be like, I've been using these forever because they're my favorites or because they're the absolute best, but just to kind of reminisce about like these like old friends that have just stayed with me. You know what I mean? In this world of like a revolving door of new releases. And you can kind of like take from that what you will, whether I'm saying it's a really great product or it's just a really great product for me. You know, by that definition, good jeans is definitely one of those things. I'm like, old good jeans. Like we've been through so much together. So that's it. That's all that I could think of. Isn't that weird? I mean, I assume that this project, that the fact that I could only think of these 5 things and one of them was roller pins, I assumed that part of the reason it's like that is because I'm on YouTube and I'm frequently trying things for review. There's also just the fact that, tastes evolve, and I really love trying new things, and I tend to be kind of restless. I think a lot of beauty lovers enjoy trying something new. Like when they run out of an old thing, even if it was good, they enjoy looking around to see like what's new to the market. A lot of us, I'm saying when you run out of something, a lot of us do that even before we've run out of a thing. A lot of us are really in that habit of like, even if you've got 3 open bottles of shampoo in your bathroom, you just enjoy looking for a new shampoo and you enjoy trying a new shampoo. So you're out there scouting for the next best thing, looking at what's new to the market, even though you haven't finished your shampoo. I used to do that before my No by Year, and I don't do that anymore. But I'm saying that whether you look for something new when you actually need something in that category, or you look for something new even though you don't need it because you enjoy looking for something new. Whatever the case, we enjoy often like trying something new and seeing if we can find something that's a little bit better than what we've had before, what we're already using. And I think that means that for many of us, and I know that not everyone's like that, and I'll be really curious to know what you guys say in the comments about this. But for those of us who are like that, and I am like this, I do like trying new things and experimenting with new formulas. It means that it's hard for something to last. It's hard for a product to stick it out like this in one's collection and in one's everyday use. It means that this list is short. For those of us who are like this list is short because inevitably we find something different to use. Sometimes I think I love change so much that I would actually rather have something different, even if the one that I was already using was the best one. Sometimes I replace the best one with the second best one just to have something different, just to mix it up. And I knew this about myself. Like I've talked about this kind of thing before. I know it about a bunch of you and I know it about me. It's just that trying to make this list, being like, I'm gonna make a list of the things I've been using forever, trying to make it and then only being able to eke out these 5 things really threw that into sharp relief and made me think about all of these these patterns in consumer habits, made me think about this aspect of being a beauty consumer who really likes experimenting and trying new things. Even one who's like watching her budget and very careful and doing like a replacements only system. Even in that case, if you're passionate about trying new formulas and trying new things, it's likely that there aren't very many things in your life that you've been using forever because you're always trying something new. So the takeaways from that, the first one that comes to mind is don't buy backups. I mean, I've talked about this before on my channel a lot. We have this idea that like we need volume of the things that we really love. But then when you look at how often we find something better than what we've already been using, even when the thing you've been using is something that you really love, it just destroys the theory. It destroys the logic behind the purchase of backups, even when stuff's way on sale or even on 20% off spring sale, whatever. If you buy backups to like stock you up for 3 years into the future on makeup that you really love right now or skincare that you really love right now, like are you sure that you aren't just 1 year from now going to be wanting to try a different version of that thing that's being released by a different brand? I just feel like that kind of backup buying is only sound logic if you've literally been using the thing forever. But to be honest, I wouldn't buy a backup of any of these things. Even this, which I've again purchased 3 times and I feel like I've been using it since I was born, I wouldn't buy a backup of it because there just is a decent chance that by the time I finish this pot of product, even though I use it every day, by the time I finish it, that there will be something else that will have come along on the market that will take its place. If there isn't, and if I do want to repurchase this, then I'll just wait until I'm absolutely sure that I want to repurchase it. And I feel like 20% off isn't worth the risk. It isn't worth the risk because you're ultimately paying 80% of the price of the thing, with no guarantee that by the time you're actually finished with the one that you have open, you're actually going to want to use it instead of another thing that you'll buy instead of it because you like trying new things, which you'll pay full price for at that time. You get what I'm saying? Just trying to make a list of stuff I've been using forever and pretty much failing just makes me want to scream from the rooftops, don't buy backups. And, you know, it also reminds me of that video that I did one time about how there's no such thing as a holy grail. This really shows that as well. I mean, I think that holy grail, I actually feel more capable of making a list of things that I currently feel like are my holy grail. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have a holy grail liquid highlight and like a holy grail lip gloss formula or whatever. You know, I feel like I could probably make that list right now, but clearly for me, something being a holy grail doesn't mean that I'm going to use it forever. I'm going to say that again, beauty YouTube. Something being your holy grail doesn't mean that you're going to use it forever. It's just what you like the best right now. We are so confused about that, I feel like, at large in this community. We really think that a holy grail is forever, even though we're constantly renovating and replacing and unseating our favorite products, and we're constantly trying new stuff instead of purchasing or repurchasing, or even instead of using up the stuff that we already have. So I think that part, these takeaways, I think that's much more interesting than the actual short list of products that I feel like I've been using forever. And, you know, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this. I would love to know both from you, both your short list and you know, I expect that for some of you, it'll be a much longer short list than it is for me, partly because I'm like a change monger, and also because, you know, I get PR and I try new things more than I otherwise would be. But I wonder if some of you will have a shorter list, won't have a list. And I really wonder what you think about the relationship between this concept and the concept of a holy grail and the act of buying backups on sale. I think the Sephora sale is coming up not super soon, but pretty soon. So it is apropos. But that's it. That's all I have to say on the matter. I'm really glad that you watched this video. And I really hope that you're remembering to take extra good care of yourself today so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.